Hello, welcome back to another episode of Somewhere Between, a film and TV podcast. We're your host. I'm Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin Trejo.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. And just remember, everything we review will always have full spoilers. What are we reviewing, Erwin? Heretic. And before I ask Erwin what it's about, before we get into everything, because there are some things to spoil in here as well, and some of the topics that it covers, and in order to get into this, I gotta ask Erwin a question.
I'm not as religious as I want to be.
You're not Mormon either.
Oh, okay. Well, what was your question?
Did you love it?
I was like, that was not the question I expected.
I was about to be
I was like, what's your religion?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, continue.
Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
I loved it.
You did?
Yeah, I'll say I loved it.
Okay.
Overall.
I really liked it. And okay. I loved the first half, and then I liked the second half.
Yeah.
We'll get into everything. We'll get into the why. But before we do all that, what's this movie about?
This movie is about, I guess, so two girls who are Mormons.
Played by
Sophie Thatcher
and Chloe East.
And they're going door to door, trying to, was it like, not convince.
No, it's more like, so they call it conversion.
Conversion, yes.
And I'm not going to say I know too much about the Mormon culture. I have listened to the Book of Mormon, and I have a friend who is Mormon, and I've seen the Andrew Garfield Mormon show.
What?
Under the banner of it's like a billion.
Oh, okay. The Banshee one?
No.
Oh, that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Okay. But, yeah, they go door to door trying to convert people, let's say, and they land into this one house who is by an older man, Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant, right.
And so Hugh Grant invites them inside, and then eventually, like, he's trying to convince them, and mostly not convince them per se, but just challenge their belief, and then challenge like religion itself.
Yeah. And
then puts them in predicaments.
So, you said you love this movie. And...
Wait. Let me clarify.
Okay.
Yeah, I do love it, but it has its issues.
Yeah.
Still, like that I just didn't agree with.
I'm gonna phrase it this way because I know that we essentially kind of agree, and I bet anything we even gave it the same score, knowing us.
Oh, I feel.
Yeah.
I haven't put it in my letterbox yet.
Oh, really?
Allegedly, I have a letterbox.
No, yeah. You won't know what it is, but I thought
it has my name. I'm like, wait, it has my name.
I thought it was so great for so long. And then much like Hugh Grant himself in this movie, I feel like it struggles to even figure out its own point in the end. Because...
Guys, if you don't get the reference, it's hard to... listen to Hugh Grant? Or hard to understand him?
No. It's because of this
Hugh Grant, more like Hugh Scholarship. You laughed earlier.
I liked the dead silence.
Okay.
It was kind of funny. But... what did you love about it? Like what?
Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant is the best part of this movie.
Yes.
But what did you love about it?
I loved the way they portrayed an idea in the very beginning. And I think the premise of that idea as a whole was so strong. And it felt that alone was already... like, I was already convinced that I was in this movie, and I was also scared for what was going to happen with these characters along the way.
Yeah. No, I do think, credit to this movie, it's unpredictable. I did not know where it was going really ever, although it kind of sucks that where it decided to go was a bit, conventional horror movie stuff. Because with this, I agree with you. The setup's amazing. It has a really clever idea. I think that what makes the verbal sparring with the dialogue so interesting is that Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East's characters are so different from each other. One of them was a convert into the church, and the other one was born into it.
Yes.
And you can tell one of them has a really sort of can-do attitude, is very nice, always very approachable about everything, to the point where you might think as an audience member that she's not as smart as Sophie Thatcher's character up until towards the end.
Yes.
Where I think that a lot of the exchanges between Hugh Grant and those two are incredible.
With Chloe East or
both of them.
Oh, okay.
I think that the dialogue is really well written here. It has a lot to say for a while, and
because I love the way they portrayed Hugh Grant in the first half.
Yeah.
Just because it didn't make it seem like he was insane or crazy in a way. It's just more he had an idea and he believed, like in a sense, like he believed in his own idea.
Yeah.
In this sense of a religion that as long like all religions are the same.
Yeah.
He was claiming that all religions are the same and that there's only one true religion.
Yeah.
And then what was the purpose of a religion as well.
I liked what this movie had to say in terms of the themes about that, where it said that the one true religion is control.
Oh, yes.
And people believing in one thing. Not that we're saying that we agree with this character or anything. I don't have the same ideology as him or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot what Sophie Thatcher's character said though too,
and
where it's like leaving out like these certain variables and not accounting for, like he talked about Judaism.
Yeah.
And then like the fact that population alone is so small.
No, it was like you didn't even account for why.
Yeah.
That's why I thought that Sophie Thatcher's character in this, whenever her like going back and forth, I'm like half convinced that's why he killed her. Like,
oh yeah,
because he was like, stop challenging me. He reminded me so much of, and I'm not going to say that I made this point first because I did hear someone say this as well. He reminds me so much of that one person you knew in high school that like talked way too much about religion. That was like very vocally like, haha, I know more than you because I don't believe in anything. And
it's like, I guess if you're very like well versed in all religions, and then you kind of like point out the fact that it's like, how can I believe in something if these all exist? Yeah, type of thing, and they all like contradict one another. So I can see that happening.
No, and then the only thing that I struggled with though is a lot of the points in the first half I think are great, and then it's a lot of like sort of proposing an idea and letting you sit on it and think on it. However, when did this movie, do you feel like it like lost steam for you at all? But when do you think it like transitioned into like being like, all right, I don't really know what we're doing here?
I think it happened when they started to get an idea of what was going on. I think like it's like the curtains open up and saying like, is something being controlled here? And it's not being genuine. Yeah. Right? Because especially when Chloe East's character was like, hey, that one prophet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she moved. She's in a different area. And at first we're thinking, oh, it's a miracle. Like she's moving. She's still alive. Yeah. But to her and like Sophie Thatcher, it's like, there's no way. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. And so it's like, and then it's like the idea of like somebody else is being controlled and all this and that. And especially the moment when Hugh Grant kills Sophie Thatcher. Yeah. Because never once I believed he was a murderer. I genuinely did not believe he was a murderer in any type of sense. I definitely believed he was like psychotic and crazy about the idea and like having an experiment with them. Yes, to the very end to be like, all right, you guys are free to go. That's what I thought was gonna something was gonna happen like that.
Hugh Grant's character here is so. I mean, I will say, like, the only reason why I don't know if I can even fully agree with you is he plays it so straight in terms of acting the same, even when he's doing some of the more like chaotic things in the back half.
I like to think it's because the characters Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, they didn't challenge him yet. Yeah, I think they were just playing along because they were scared of what was going to happen.
They were being really kind and really nice for like a really long portion of it.
Yeah, and so they were just letting Hugh Grant's character talk. Throughout, and we're just like understanding him better along the way.
Parts of the first half kind of reminded me of the original Speak No Evil a little bit, Speak No Evil, where it was like. He even says a similar line where they're like, he's like, you can leave whenever you want. Although I really don't think that's true. I do think that was another one of like the control things because they kept on saying like, let us go. And then he's always like, oh, let me go get my wife that's making the pie.
The blueberry pie. Yeah. And then he said out loud, it's like, oh yeah, you guys probably like found the candle. That was blueberry pie. And I was like, dang, what the heck?
And then they actually did make it. Yeah. Because I remember being like, okay, if you were fooled by a candle, they don't actually smell the exact same.
You smell like the fire. Like the burnt wick of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, some of the other stuff I liked in this, especially in the first half, are the metaphors, the visual cues, the thing with Monopoly. And
I love references.
Oh, before we get into the one, because I'm looking at your wall right now. Oh. But before we address that, I want to talk about the fact that more movies need to talk about their fast food rankings, I think.
Oh my god, when that brought up,
I
was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like, I love Burger King, but I don't think it's number one.
No, but I was like, pause the movie, hang on. In-N-Out. Why is it so low? And then I was like, I know that you're originally not in Texas, but how come they didn't bring up Whataburger, which should be last, by the way? And
I can't. The way that they didn't mention Taco Bell.
Oh no, because of the whole idea of like, because they call it Taco Hell, and like, that's what my dad calls it. And well, that's another place I love. I don't think you like it that much, but
no, I mean I like the prices more than the food. So
yeah,
but yeah, I agree. More people should talk about the rankings. I forgot about that.
Movies.
Yeah,
I have never seen a movie compare Jesus to Jar Jar Binks until
dude, I can't like. The fact that so many things in this movie, I guess, was just so relatable to audiences nowadays.
He made a good point about that, and like I'll let you finish before we.
But I guess like with the games,
yeah,
and just trying to connect more to like younger audiences, and like not just younger audiences, but audiences nowadays, and especially when he talked about songs.
Yes, okay. Now you can say it.
That was beautiful because the fact that. Because I knew certain artists already like copy other songs previously.
Yeah, and it's a whole. I mean,
sometimes it's
as someone who loves music a lot. There's like a copyright thing, and sometimes the claims are false. And...
Yeah, because I know like Dua Lipa is one of them too.
Yeah.
I remember like listening to like the songs back to back, and I'm like, oh my god, but like, that song's so good, and I'm like, I didn't know.
There's this one song with Gracie Abrams and Biba Doobie. That's all I'm saying. It sounds super similar. And...
Yeah, it's just insane, right?
Yeah.
But when he compared, I was shocked because I've heard that song because he compared was it there's this first original say this first original song was an older song, and that it was another duplicate of like Creep.
Yeah, like Creep. I love Radiohead, by the way.
Yeah, Radiohead, and it was like Creep by Radiohead, and then he said that the song Get Free by Lana Del Rey.
Yeah.
Was like another version of it too, and I was like, "There's no way." And I listened to that same song again. I was like, "I hear it."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Fine."
No, it was funny bringing this up because like I've also never seen a movie reference Lana Del Rey, and then I immediately thought of you because I was like, he's kind of shit talking her, but also like I've never heard something referenced.
Yeah, that's so true. I was like, "Oh, that's fine."
Yeah,
but I mean, but like majority of artists do that nowadays, so.
No, but outside of that, what he was saying, like as funny as it was to hear Hugh Grant do a Jar Jar Binks impression of all things, like
I would never expect that.
Imagining him as a disciple like Moses or something is so fucking funny.
No, I mean, it's true.
But,
again, I see the theories.
I mean, well, no, he is Jesus.
But like, he is Jesus.
But the whole point they're making, like whenever he's like, the Phantom Menace is going to be praised by some people, as I was like, honestly, some people do take that as text already. Like the point that he's making is very Facebook Reddit coded, but like. He's right in a sense of the way that we see fandoms even interact with the art that they are being shown as if it is a sacred text.
Yes.
And I don't think this movie was trying to make commentary on fandom, but like even comparing some of the aspects of the way it works to religion as well is still some of the same things. And this idea of controlling that one thing that you can have.
But I think it's just the fact that you're able to control such a mass group of people already through whatever it may be, whatever story it may be. But the fact that the story he compared it to was very similar to every single religion. Yeah. But then also Sophie Thatcher's character bringing out like these very small details. It's like the one where he talks about like the pharaoh.
Right. And like she has a bird head.
Bird head. It's like, what about that? Like you don't take account in that.
Yeah.
So.
No, and I thought all of this is really well done. And before we start like complaining a little bit, I think the transition in the middle is really interesting whenever it turns into what I feel, because in the second half of the movie it kind of turns into Barbarian a little bit, but
I see it.
Yeah, I think that before we go through some of the missed potential, I want to address some of the things that I like, but also I have to go into my negatives as well.
Okay.
I love the concept of we'll get into the maze thing, but I love the circles of hell thing that's also on the wall.
Oh yeah,
with the 9 layers, although they really only get to like 3 of them.
They barely show it though. It's like didn't like zoom in or anything.
Yeah,
I thought they were gonna do that too, but
I also think the house is beautiful. We can finally talk about production design in one of our videos. It's awesome.
It looks great.
It's great. The house is a character essentially, and
I thought the house was bigger.
I thought, yeah, no, I mean,
it's big, but it's not. I thought it was gonna be more layers.
It goes pretty like far down. They imply more than we even know, but I don't even.
I don't know.
We didn't really get to see more of it.
How long was this movie?
It's an hour 50.
Oh yeah, it went by fast.
It was one of those things though where like it's a chamber piece. It's contained
of secrets.
No, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, there are some secrets there, where it's isolated.
Harry Potter reference.
I think they know that. Prisoner of Azkaban.
Goblet of Fire.
I don't want to go through all of them. But it's just one of those things where I think that I'm blanking a little bit because you distracted me. Yeah.
Tell me why I was in my head. I was like screaming the rest of the one.
Yeah. No. Well. Okay. So let's just go ahead and let me like lead into asking you.
Okay.
Some of the stuff in the second trial, kinda. Okay. With the pie and everything. What did you think of it? If this falls into your positives or negatives, that's all right.
The second trial of the pie?
Where with the prophet.
Oh, like okay, like because like before knowing like the switch happened, or like okay. Yeah. So like whenever they went through the door the first time, right? Okay. So whenever they went through the door afterwards, I thought I was still in it, right? And of course, like you're still wondering like what are they trying to do and like trying to understand like because Hugh Grant's character is trying to prove like a miracle. You're about to witness a miracle.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the point where I think that Hugh Grant's character was trying to prove of control. Right? Because if you witness something, obviously you're going to believe whatever religion he's trying to like present. Right. And to me, it feels like he understands because he said he's been studying religion like for like through college and like for years after. And so I'm assuming that he was trying to make it where if everyone can do it, so can I. Yeah. So I feel like he's trying to start something with him.
The one thing I can tell you though that kind of I think he got lost in his own point a little bit is so much of faith is literally based on faith. Something that you can't see.
Something you can't see. And he was trying to prove something
that you can see. So I was just like, I think he's kind of disproving himself a little bit by trying to make this point in terms of trying to create the artificial miracle. Yeah. And
because I think because he was so against it about the artificial thing because it's a story that was told by others over and over again. Yeah. Until it was like, quote unquote fabricated in a sense. So
yeah. But and some of the stuff with that, I think that for me is where I really liked all that stuff. When I'm not gonna say it ever lost me is whenever though I will say some of the practical effects here are really great whenever he tears the contraceptive out of her arm. Oh, yes. But with that, once it gets to all that, I thought the surprise of him actually killing her was like very off.
I did not expect that because he didn't give me like murder intent. Yeah. It's just more so I'm keeping you here until I'm done type of thing, and that's it.
Whenever he stabbed her and killed her, and then he was like, "Oh, don't worry, she'll come back." Like, well, she didn't come back. I do think that. Because so much of the movie, because now I'm thinking about it, because like I have to recontextualize like the information we know after and then before. Because at the point I was just like, oh, does he believe this?
And like, is it really gonna happen? Like, they come back? That's what I thought was gonna happen. Like, she genuinely just came back, right? But, even if like her head moved, I would have been like, maybe she came back.
No, but this point is when I think the movie starts struggling with itself because he starts struggling
too. Yeah. So you would think like if we're now in the perspective of him, instead of like the girls. I can see that.
But it's not reflective in the sense that I think that was on purpose. I think the movie just starts to struggle to prove any of its points because it doesn't know where to go from there, and neither does he.
Yeah, because I think once they like challenge him to the point where he doesn't know what to do, he freaks out and starts saying things like, I guess when you started like talking about she's
no, when I told you that she was like a robot or something,
I'm like, what?
Because I was telling you, I was like, if this movie's actually going there, you're gonna have to do some pretty hard explaining to me as to why it's going the like, sci-fi horror route.
I hardly know anything about Sophie Thatcher's character at this moment. Like I don't understand that.
And then I will say maybe credit to the point of the character for a moment. I was like, I guess she was acting a little weird. I don't know. And
she's just more defensive. I don't understand. I would too.
Yeah. I was like, it's not like that Megan Fox movie where he like fucks the robot or anything, but like, cause that's
you saw that movie?
I saw parts of it.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna.
Why'd you make that? You're like, Okay, continue.
He got seduced by the robot.
Okay, robot or Megan Fox?
The Megan Fox is the robot. And,
she is a robot.
yeah. Whatever. So, I guess we can transition into our negatives here with this.
Okay.
What were you not so big on with this?
I was not so big on the multiple prophets.
Okay.
Them in cages.
It's funny. I like that.
Really? I think I didn't like it because then I guess it just diminished more of the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I was still liking the fact that he was trying to showcase a miracle to it, to the other girls.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's just like, oh, he just switched them, or like they were switched around.
Yeah.
And that was it. Here's
my issue with it, but then also part of my positive. I thought that what it was in the first 50% of this movie was really well done. It was great. I thought that a lot of the dialogue interactions, since this is a movie that wants to prove a point with multiple characters, I thought that they would prove their point.
Yeah.
Because this was going to be originally under our explained videos, but then now I'm like, well, there's nothing much to explain if this movie itself didn't present you with something to really like drive home.
Yeah, like to question or even like think about.
Yeah.
Because it just explained itself.
Yeah.
And basically explained like what Hugh Grant was doing the entire time.
No, exactly. I liked it less, but I still liked it. Yes. And the whole thing with the multiple prophets, because it does essentially just turn into Saw and Don't Breathe and Barbarian, and then just becomes a totally other kind of horror movie.
It just didn't feel like, because I think that if they were just focusing on the experiment alone and it just kept going on throughout the movie until like maybe the very end something else happens, but the fact that the other half is just now them escaping from this guy who is just crazy and holding up other hostages. Yeah. And you're like, what?
No, and I told you, we can excuse plot holes so often whenever the movie's just really well done. However, it let me question a little bit. I'm like, how come those people were dead? How often do missionaries show up here that he has like 3 dead bodies just lying there? How much does he do this? That like,
well, he says he keeps the room super cold, and that way they're like starving and suffering. That's because like he feeds them very little, so in that way they obey him. Much, so.
But I'm telling you that whenever the first time they do that switch, when they go down there, there's just already like 3 other bodies there. I counted. And
wait, when?
Of the prophets, like, you know how they look down and they can see the...
Oh, yeah.
There were others just already lying there.
It sounds like he does this already.
Yeah, and I was just like...
Well, because whenever they were getting called to, it's like he just put his number.
Yeah. In
with I guess like the list whenever the Mormons are going around and everything. So I'm guessing he probably does it with other churches too. I guess that's the assumption there.
No, I liked the idea, but then I was just like, I don't even know if the premise of this can be held up more than the one time he did it anyway. Yeah. Because wouldn't someone have been like, hey, there's something wrong with that house by now? You would think.
Or maybe it's just one of those things too where, because I guess towards the end, more so, when Chloe East's character is being challenged more and more about her faith. Yeah. And at the end, like, she didn't give up on her faith. At first, you would think so whenever she tried to go through the disbelief.
She ended up being kind of one of the standouts a little bit for me because I have never seen this actress in anything. At least I don't think. Maybe I have. But I really came away with... There's a line I love because don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of the dialogue, I will say, stays consistently well written throughout. It's the plot structure stuff that starts to waver a little bit. There's a line I love that's worded in a particular way where she says something along the lines of, I might not be smart enough to know how to explain myself, but I know when something is wrong or something like that. I thought that was amazing. Yeah. And
now when Hugh Grant said, with great power comes great responsibility.
And she said Spider-Man.
And I was like, yeah, that's us.
I was like, me too. And then she quoted Swamp Thing. I was like, cool, yeah. This is, okay, off track, but I do want to address, I thought the beginning... like dialogue exchange was hilarious.
With the porn thing? Yeah, that's funny.
Yes. Whenever there's like, what's the difference between Magnum condoms and then
they're just regular size condoms.
She said that I thought that there was beauty in that. That's how I saw that the Lord is real. And I was like, that's really funny. Because this movie does have like some sharp humor to it as well. But I will also ask you, do you have any other things that you weren't so big on?
I guess my expectations with the trailer.
Okay, let's get into that because it's not the movie's fault.
Yeah,
but in the trailer, The shot itself, though, in the movie is amazing.
It's
incredible.
Great. When I was happening, I was like, oh my god, the maze is happening.
No, and she's walking through it, and then then it pans to the door. I was like,
yeah. I guess it's like that small, huh?
Yeah, no. I was like, oh, well, that's real. It's just in a diorama. But that's like incredible visual storytelling. I bringing that up. I think the way the camera moves in this, it's also beautifully shot. And however, I thought, and this is my own fault, and also part of the trailers, I thought this movie was a maze movie.
I really thought so too. I thought they were going to challenge their beliefs, yes,
by going
through a maze.
Yeah,
and I guess through that maze, it was going to be like different obstacles that would challenge their faith, and that's what I thought it was going to happen.
And I'm not wrong for thinking that either. The poster. There's even one of them that like it looks like a maze, not the blueberry pie one, obviously, but
there's a blueberry pie one
where he's that's
cool. That's cool.
And that one's cool, but then the one that I've seen, and then the Heretic, the font, the title, looks like a maze too. So I kept thinking like, oh cool, like a labyrinth challenge of trials of faith and stuff. So then whenever I was watching it, I was like, I feel like half the movie's passed, and there's been
when they bring out the check at the 40-minute mark.
Like, no, where's the maze? It's not the fault of the movie.
Yeah, it's
right?
not. It's us.
It's just like I'm glad that we waited a day for us to review it because I'm going like there was no maze.
Yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen. I don't know. I don't want to say it's like it's fault, like it's a fault or anything because again, like I just take what the movie's trying to present us.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, I kind of wanted to see that.
No, I do want to see a faith-based movie about like going through a maze.
Basically, it's like Goblet of Fire, like the last
exactly,
challenge.
Or Labyrinth, literally.
Yeah, that's true.
I do want to talk about the ending though, because it does kind of tie back to
miracles or
something that happens earlier on. You know how Chloe E's character is stabbed at the end, and they talk about miracles and they talk about near-death experiences. At the end of the movie, the thing about the butterflies, do you think that implies that she actually dies at the end of this movie? Or
Chloe East? Or I thought whenever they had the conversation on the couch, saying like, "Oh, I would be a butterfly."
Yeah.
Right, and then Sophie Thatcher is like, "Oh, that's really cute."
Yeah.
Like that's lovely.
Yeah.
I was thinking that that's Sophie Thatcher as the butterfly.
Okay.
To like say like, oh, that's.
I thought she just saw it as her thing, as like a comfort thing, and then it like disappeared.
I would say that would be connected to that.
Okay.
Is what she said.
Oh, random aside. That's Topher Grace.
Dude, I thought the same thing. I was just like, during the movie, I was like, that guy looks so familiar, but I just can't. I don't know who that is. When I looked it up, I was like, that's Topher Grace.
You know when I found it out? It's this face that he makes in like everything he's in.
I was like,
it was that. Whenever like Hugh Grant says something to him, and he's like, "Did I give you this booklet?"
I was like, "That's 70s Show."
No, and I was just like, "That's," because I've only seen like some of that show. But I was just like, "Hey."
I've seen that 70s Show too many times.
Yeah.
That's why I was just like, why does it look so familiar? Yeah, I've seen all of it. The last season's terrible.
All right, Erwin. I think we're about ready to wrap up here.
All right.
So overall, what did you think, and what's your score?
Overall, I did enjoy this movie. I would love to see it again. Yeah. To be honest.
With proper expectations.
Yeah, this time. But I give it 4 out of 5.
Okay. I really like this movie as well. I can't say I loved it, but I do think it's really well crafted.
I just love the premise so much.
The premise is amazing, even if it doesn't fully follow through in all of its potential. I think the performances, especially Hugh Grant, are incredible.
Yeah, Hugh Grant does a great job.
Yeah. The dialogue's always well written. However, some of the plot structure stuff is just too not well thought out for me to fully like say that it's amazing. I still think it's really good though, and I'm also giving it a 4 out of 5.
I love the references to Lana Del Rey and Spider-Man.
Me too. I like the Spider-Man.
And Jar Jar Binks.
I love the reference to Spider-Man.
Bob Ross, Monopoly.
And the debit card Monopoly, which I was like, I want to play that now. But thank you guys so much for listening and watching. What are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. Erwin, what's up next?
I don't know.
We are going to have a review for you of The Penguin.
Yo.
And
wait, hopefully if we get done with it.
That one has to come out because you have to see that show.
Okay.
And Red One.
Oh yeah.
Are you excited for it?
I am excited for Red One.
I'm hoping I'm one of the people that likes it. I just like
I don't know. I hope I'm not. I have low expectations. I just hope I have fun. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching again. Stay tuned for next time, and we will see you later.